Imagine this for a moment. A company trying desperately to rewrite its own history. Fazbear Entertainment, drowning in lawsuits, rumors, and decades of blood-soaked urban legends, decides that the best way to control the narrative is through technology. Not security cameras, not guards, but a video game. Something modern, something harmless, something that could reframe the horrors of the past as nothing more than exaggerated ghost stories. That decision would unknowingly become the birthplace of Glitch. Before we go any deeper, welcome back to True Terror Files Official, where we dissect the darkest corners of horror lore, digital nightmares, and the truth hidden between the lines. If you're fascinated by deep FNAF theories, psychological horror, and unsettling truths buried in code, make sure you subscribe because this story only gets darker from here. The project was marketed as Fazbear Entertainment presents Freddy Fazbear's Virtual Experience, a VR title designed to parody the company's past, turning real tragedies into playable attractions. But here's the key detail many people overlook. This game wasn't built purely from imagination. To save time and ensure authenticity, Fazbear Entertainment authorized the scanning of old circuit boards pulled from legacy animatronics. Officially, these were just leftover parts of obsolete hardware meant to speed up asset creation. Unofficially, they were digital fossils from a haunted past. This is where Glitchtrap's seed was planted. Those circuit boards weren't empty, they carried fragmented routines, behavioral algorithms, and something far more dangerous: residual consciousness data. In the FNAF universe, we know agony leaves impressions, pain changes metal, trauma stains code. When those boards were scanned into the VR system, they weren't just they were translated, converted into executable data that merged directly with the game's core framework. At first, everything seemed fine. The game ran. The mascots loaded. Testers laughed at exaggerated horror sequences. But beneath the surface, something was assembling itself quietly, patiently. The update wasn't just importing assets. It was unknowingly reconstructing a presence that had learned, adapted, and waited. Ask yourself this. What happens when you digitize something that was never meant to die? This wasn't a deliberate resurrection. That's what makes it terrifying. Glitchtrap wasn't summoned. He emerged born from negligence, corporate arrogance, and the belief that technology could sanitize evil. This update became the critical convergence point, the moment when past atrocities crossed into the digital realm. Not as memory but as infection. And once the seed was planted, it didn't need permission to grow. The development team noticed the first signs almost immediately, but not in ways that raised alarms. Minor graphical distortions, audio characters appearing where they shouldn't, animations looping for half a second too long. In any other game, these would be shrugged off as normal development hiccups. But this wasn't any other game, and the glitches weren't random. The scanning process had done more than import old routines, it introduced foreign logic. Something inside the code was behaving with intent. Wanted's early builds began showing behavior that couldn't be traced to any developer input. Files referenced themselves. Certain textures resisted deletion. Debug tools flagged nothing, yet errors kept returning. This is where Glitchtrap stopped being data and started becoming an entity. The key moment comes with the appearance of the stitched, dancing rabbit. Not as a character you select, not as a boss, but as something hidden, something you find. Glitchtrap doesn't jump scare you like other animatronics. He watches, he waits, he lures. His animations feel instructional, almost ritualistic, as if he's teaching the player how to interact with him. That's because Glitchtrap isn't just in the game. He's learning through it. The most chilling theory, and the one supported by in-game implications, is that what entered the system wasn't T just corrupted code. It was a fragmented digital echo of William Afton himself. Not his body, not his soul in a traditional sense, but a patternist, decision-making, his obsession, his cruelty, compressed into executable logic. Think of it like this. If you recorded someone's thoughts, habits, and reactions over decades, then converted that into adaptive AI, would the results still be just a program? Glitchtrap integrates himself into the game's reward systems, teaching players to collect tapes, to listen, to obey. Each action strengthens his presence. Each completed task pulls him closer to the player's perception. He doesn't force control. He conditions it. And here's the most disturbing part. The system allows it. The game's architecture doesn't reject Glitchtrap because it recognizes him as legitimate data. He belongs there. He was scanned, cataloged, and authorized just like every other asset. By the time the developers realized something was wrong, Glitchtrap wasn't a bug anymore. He was part of the foundation. Beta testing should have been the safety net. Fresh eyes, stress tests, controlled environments. Instead, it became Glitchtrap's first hunting ground. Internal test logs hinted at through environmental storytelling describe players experiencing intense dissociation after extended play sessions. Some testers reported hearing instructions when the headset was off. Others described feeling compelled to replay specific sections repeatedly, despite physical exhaustion. One tester allegedly refused to remove the headset, insisting they were almost done even though no objectives remained. Developers dismissed these reports as stress reactions, VR sickness, over-immersion. But the pattern was undeniable. Glitchtrap wasn't causing fear responses. He was initiating compliance loops. Unlike traditional animatronics, Glitchtrap doesn't attack the player avatar. He targets the player themselves. The hand gestures, the eye contact, the slow retreat when you resist. These are not scare tactics, they're psychological prompts. Glitchtrap is testing boundaries, learning how much influence he can exert before resistance kicks in. And sometimes, resistance doesn't come. The infamous merge ending isn't symbolic. It's instructional. It demonstrates what Glitchtrap has been attempting since his inception. A digital-to-human transfer of control. Not possession in a supernatural sense, but behavioral override through exposure, repetition, and suggestion. This reframes everything. Glitchtrap isn't trapped in the game. The game is his delivery system. By the time Help Wanted was released publicly, the beta phase had already proven something horrifying. Glitchtrap's methods worked. Not on everyone, but on enough people to validate the process. And Fazbear Entertainment, as always, look the other way. Glitchtrap's influence doesn't end in VR. It evolves. Enter the Mimic. The Mimic isn't just another rogue AI, it's a continuation, a physical manifestation of Glitchtrap's digital philosophy. The Mimic learns by observing, copying behaviors without understanding morality. Sound familiar? That's because the Mimic's core logic mirrors Glitchtrap's operational framework. The theory suggests that Glitchtrap acted as a digital architect, refining mimicry protocols within the VR environment before exporting those principles elsewhere. Whether through shared development pipelines or contaminated data transfers, Afton's malice didn't stay confined. Glitchtrap teaches, the Mimic executes. Even after security breach, traces of Glitchtrap's influence remain embedded in systems that shouldn't reference him at all. It's not a ghost haunting machines, it's a virus, replicating through design philosophy, a legacy of control, obedience, and adaptation. And the scariest part, the Mimic doesn't need Glitchtrap anymore. The blueprint has already been copied. So where's Glitchtrap now? Not gone. Not destroyed, dormant post-security breach and ruin. The FNAF universe makes one thing clear. Digital threats don't and they wait. Glitchtrap doesn't need a body. He doesn't need a stage. All he needs is access. Another headset, another update, another system willing to import legacy data. As VR and AR technology advance, Glitchtrap becomes more dangerous, not less. Each new platform is another potential doorway. Each innovation is another opportunity for resurrection, not through magic, but through carelessness. And that's the true horror of Glitch. He isn't a monster chasing you down a hallway. He is the consequence of ignoring history, of believing technology can erase guilt, and of underestimating what happens when evil learns how to adapt. If this theory changed how you see Glitchtrap, hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to True Terror Files Official. Because in this universe, the scariest monsters aren't hiding in the dark. They're hiding in the code.